Hello, Kat.
How's it going? I already know how it's going, but I gotta ask you for the listeners at home.
Right. Coming off of some kind of a cold that just has given me a week-long headache, but that doesn't go away with Advil. I don't know.
It sounds like COVID, but
I
you
know, I
said you tried.
know. I tested myself and it's not, at least the at-home test said no, but hard to say.
Who knows these days?
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Well, I hope tonight's episode is probably not going to make you feel much better.
I don't think so.
Well, maybe. I think I'm approaching this with some measured hope, I guess.
Oh, good. Okay.
Um, yeah, it's all over the place. So get in for a fun ride.
Okay.
This kind of feels like your microplastics episode
Uh-huh.
because it's kind of the Wild West again. But
Yes.
tonight we're talking about PFAS or forever chemicals. Mm-hmm. Especially, particularly since this episode is about groceries are too damn expensive, or this season, we're focusing on are PFAS or forever chemicals in your food unavoidable? And I just want to start with some quotes. Okay, start with The Guardian. Recent testing of 26 types of largely saltwater seafood sold fresh at a market in coastal New Hampshire found PFAS in all of it, with the highest concentrations in shrimp and lobster.
Oh, God.
Saltwater seafood near urban areas and military bases has also been found to have alarming levels of PFAS, including crabs, bass, oysters, and clams from the Chesapeake Bay.
That's where I live.
I know. And then another quick thing from BBC Science Focus said the report found PFAS were present in over half of all food samples tested in the UK.
Whoa.
So that's some alarming reporting, I would say. I think there's a little more nuance to the topic.
Thank God.
So we've talked about forever chemicals in things like shampoo, cleaning products, our water, that they're everywhere. But what about in food? And is there anything you can do to avoid it, right? And is there anything you can do to maybe feel better about it? Let's dig in. Welcome to Greening Up My Act. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, my research for this was all over the place. I tried to get a lot from the NIH, the EPA. There's some, news stories in there, but there's a lot out there on PFAS, and trying to stick with just the facts, ma'am. So,
Yeah, it's probably very similar where it's like a lot of I'm assuming a lot of fear-mongering.
a lot of fear-mongering, a lot of hand-wringing, a lot of hair on fire. Maybe not without cause. Maybe it's not unwarranted, but so, okay, my sources. I had the NIH, the EPA, a bunch of the EPA, the BBC Science Focus, The Guardian, FDA, ITRC, just a short little thing there. And the NIH had a study called The Devil They Knew, Chemical Documents Analysis of Industry Influence on PFAS Science, just to tell you that point of view. Website from ELG Law, and then Consumer Reports.
Okay.
So, yeah, buckle in.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to start with what are PFAS. And I think you've said this before. Impossible to pronounce, but they're per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's PFAS. They're human-made chemicals that persist in the environment and our bodies. They're called forever chemicals because they break down very slowly over time, if at all. Perhaps to the point that we can't measure that they break down because it is past our lifetimes. They were originally used starting in the 1930s and 40s, and there are over 15,000 of them, or 14,000 of them, depending on, at least over 10,000 of them, but probably closer to more than 15,000 of them. They have a lot of commercial or industrial applications, especially with like flame retardants, grease resistance, heat resistance. Mm-hmm. They're really good at repelling oil, water, and heat. They make stuff more durable, so it makes sense. And they're all synthetic chemicals. And again, no one really knows how long they're going to stick around or what effects they have on the human body, which is fun.
Great.
So nowadays you can find PFAS in a lot of places. Fire extinguishing foam, chemical or manufacturing facilities, cleaning products, paints, varnishes, sealants, nonstick cookware, stain and water repellent used on carpets or upholstery, but also food packaging, grease-resistant paper, fast food containers, pizza boxes, candy wrappers, fertilizer, cosmetic shampoo, dental floss, drinking water, due mostly to waste sites in water and soil where PFAS have been dumped, and just kind of anywhere you're looking. Oh yeah, and also our food.
Right.
So, what's wrong with PFAS? Why are people kind of like, merp? Okay, they don't biodegrade or naturally break down, whether that's forever or, again, like I said, it's just so long we just don't know. They can build up in your system if you inhale or ingest them because you can't excrete them quickly enough to get rid of them. There are two types of PFAS that have been linked definitely to health risks in humans, which are what the EPA and FDA focus on measuring. There's a big knowledge gap because we just haven't tested the effects of so many PFAS that are used in so many different processes. The FDA focuses on food, the EPA focuses on water. So they're looking at the ones where you can find there. The EPA reports that there are a lot of health risks associated with PFAS, especially these two specific ones. The big ones we know of are reproductive effects. So likely lower fertility and increased blood pressure in pregnant women. Developmental effects in children. So low birth weight, early puberty. That's another hormonal issue. Bone variations, possibly behavioral issues. Of course, it causes autism and ADHD in children. There's cancer risk, especially in the prostate, kidney, and testicles. Immune issues, including reduced vaccine response.
Oh, wow.
Can interfere with hormones and might increase cholesterol or the risk of obesity.
Oh, wow.
But we don't know. Again, a lot of the testing that they've done on PFAS has been in communities where there was high exposure. Or, when they do testing in animals, it's been high exposures to these specific ones. And again, there are 15,000 of them. So it's not like every PFAS has been tested.
Oy.
But I don't know if you need to be tested for PFAS that are only found in chemical solvents that you never use, right? Like, it's a kind of okay. Where are PFAS found? Like I said, they're everywhere. Mostly due to contamination of our waterways. So anytime they test for PFAS in water, they're going to find it. Basically is the bottom line there. And because they don't go away, they show up again and again when we eat, when we drink, and then poop it out, it goes into our sewage systems and back into our waterways. They're not totally sure that a place that was contaminated with PFAS in the groundwater will always produce PFAS contaminated food. That's a knowledge gap we don't have. So it's not a sure bet that if you're farming on land that was been contaminated with PFAS, that the food will automatically just have PFAS in it. They don't know.
Great.
That ELG law site says the most contaminated states in terms of PFAS for drinking water are Iowa, Kentucky, Alabama, Louisiana, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Florida, and South Carolina. Bergen County, New Jersey, I think, was the most contaminated. But again, it's like which PFAS and how much is the question.
Interesting. New Jersey is kind of surprising. But...
Well, huge manufacturing.
Yeah, it is pretty industrial.
This is kind of spread out all over the place. So the EPA has set a maximum contaminant levels for PFAS. They test for specific types of PFAS, the ones most likely to harm us, those two that I said, and ensure bottled water and food don't contain levels higher than that. The FDA has been testing for PFAS in food since 2019 and has tested nearly 1,300 samples of food to date. They found a low incidence of PFAS in over 97% of fresh and processed foods that they tested. So,
Okay.
but they did find that of the 3% of things that were contaminated, more than half of the contaminated specimens were seafood, like I said in that earlier thing. So seafood appears to be hit pretty hard with PFAS, and especially filter feeders like clams and shrimp.
Okay.
Cod, lobster, obviously, all of these. But again, they said that the level they found PFAS at was not a concern in these foods. Okay. So it's pretty much unavoidable to... You can't avoid PFAS because it's in our water. Basically, it's in there.
Yeah.
We're not getting it out. All food is grown using water. Doesn't matter if it's organic. Pesticides contain PFAS, but most pesticides contain PFAS. But again, as we said in the organic food episode, a lot of fertilizer and pesticides have been found not to cause levels that cause risk in human beings. Now, again, the research is incomplete. They're saying we don't see a smoking gun. It's not like you're going to eat a non-organic apple that had a pesticide and you're immediately going to get cancer, right?
Right.
But a lot of the issue is we don't know, right? Other places that you might not expect it. So bulk food bins are usually treated with PFAS.
What's a bulk food bin?
So when they store food in bulk.
Oh, like a bunch of watermelons or something?
Yeah, or apples. Or also things that go into processed foods.
Okay.
These containers are treated with PFAS, and that leaches into the food.
Weird. Okay.
Sewage sludge, again, because we're all eating and drinking PFAS, we pee and poop it out, so it's in sewage sludge, and they use that for fertilizer, so biosolids. Pet food and feed for animals can contain PFAS, which means they ingest it, and then if you eat meat, they have PFAS, so you're going to get it there. Plastic food containers from stores. So anything that's like grease resistant or non-stick is probably treated with PFAS.
I know. I feel like even the liner of your pizza boxes, those are basically parchment paper. It depends.
Yes, but it depends. So they did outlaw... I have a whole thing. We'll go through that.
Okay.
Recycled paper often has PFAS in it.
Oh, lovely.
And any packaging that's produced in non-regulated countries can have more PFAS in it than from the US or the EU.
Okay.
So the people who are most at risk for PFAS contamination are people who work in PFAS industries or live near them, military bases, manufacturing, industrial manufacturing. It ends up pregnant women because they drink more water than other adults. So they are more likely to ingest more PFAS, which is just infuriating since it can cause low birth weight and birth defects.
Yeah, not to mention high blood pressure, which is like a reason that that doctors will.
Yeah, you get a cesarean.
Yeah.
Like
induce you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which would contribute to low birth weight as well.
Yeah.
Preterm babies. Excuse me. Also, kids are more at risk because they eat, drink, and breathe more per pound compared to adults. So they disproportionately take in more. Infants are also more at risk because they crawl on the floor near carpets, dust, toys, and cleaning products. And infants will get it also from their mother's breast milk.
Right.
So basically everyone's at risk. But those are the people most likely to have higher levels of PFAS in their systems. Okay, this is kind of the infuriating part. And it's all over the place. So Consumer Reports... Well, okay, the question is, what is being done about PFAS? And the answer is some, right? Okay. Consumer Reports says the Environmental Protection Agency established the first nationwide limits for PFAS in drinking water in 2024. And they established requirements that public water systems monitor for 6 PFAS compounds and take action if levels rise above prescribed limits. At the time, they estimated that between 6 and 10% of the 66,000 public drinking water systems in the U.S. would find PFAS once they started testing. So that gave them 5 years to comply with the new rule. And then in 2025, they rescinded this to focus on the 2 worst chemicals that they found.
Okay, I knew that Trump had rescinded something to do with it.
Yes. So they've scaled it back. I think, again, these, and I know I wrote it down somewhere, but there are 2, it's PFOA and PFOS are the big bad boys. And all the other ones, they're like, it would be an abundance of caution to scale for these. So it would cost public water systems like a lot of money to do this monitoring and to do something about it. So I think they just scaled back to do the ones that definitely cause harm.
Okay.
Right? Is kind of the idea there.
You want to know what's amazing?
Yeah.
In my algorithm, in my news cycle, all I saw were headlines that Trump got rid of all regulation.
Oh. Not from what I've read.
That is so interesting. It's like, of course that is.
Well, and that's, again, you know, why I was trying to kind of stay away from news sites is because of that. It's hard because I do think that this government administration has been particularly crazy about slashing regulations.
Yes.
That are helpful. And I'm trying to be roundabout and mindful about, like, why would they do this? You know, I won't say, well,
they don't always have good reasons, but
no. So PFOA and PFOS have been banned from use in production since 2002. Okay. But 90% of pregnant women are still exposed to PFOA through previous contamination, basically. According to the NIH. And that same study I read said that there are no consistent approaches to regulating exposures to PFAS globally. So it's the Wild West. I'm just going to read you what they said. There are no federal enforceable limits on any PFAS chemicals in the U.S., although in 2016 the EPA issued a non-enforceable lifetime health advisory for exposure to PFOA and PFOS in drinking water of 70 parts per trillion.
Okay.
And they're saying that in November 2015, the approximate safe level of PFOA in water systems was exceeded by factors of 100 or more in 27 U.S. states already.
Wow.
So it's been a problem. Okay, here's what the words are. So PFOA is perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOA, and PFOS is perfluorooctane sulfonic acid.
Okay.
Okay, so they still have trouble monitoring PFAS in drinking systems because they ended the national program to test for them in 2015. They still only tested for 2 types of the thousands of chemicals, and they only required systems that serve more than 10,000 people to report if levels exceeded the threshold level. So there's just, in 2022, the EPA issued interim updated drinking water health advisories for PFOA and PFOS that reduced those EPA stated in 2016 to a 0.004 and 0.020 parts per trillion, respectively. So they lowered the levels from 2015 and 2016 that is acceptable, right, in 2022. But some states in the U.S. and a few select countries globally have banned PFAS in food contact materials, paper and paper food packaging, and firefighting foam.
So that is meaning the United States, or
the United States, and I think the EU.
Oh wow, okay. Good.
So, yeah, they're trying to find ways to lower our exposure to it in terms of what touches our food, basically, and what touches our water. Okay. The US FDA does not have limits on PFAS in food. It just monitors for it, basically. The FDA is aware of areas contaminated with some of the most concerning PFAS, again, PFOA and PFOS, and so far testing has not found that foods themselves that are grown outside of known contaminated regions have detectable amounts of those PFAS.
Okay.
So PFOA and PFOS are not found in food that's not grown in contaminated regions, as far as we know.
Okay. Interesting. So there are like specific areas that have been contaminated by these two really bad PFAS.
Yes. Yes.
And if the food is grown outside of there,
they haven't found it to be true that these two chemicals are in there.
okay. But it's in the water? Those are in the water?
Yes, possibly in some areas.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So the U.S. government, for the FDA, is also testing PFAS used in, again, food supply issues. So in the spring of 2020, the FDA published findings from a post-market scientific review and analysis from studies, and they say that certain types of PFAS are authorized for use as food contact substances, right? They found some that raised questions about the potential human health risks. So these PFAS had already been allowed to be used in food container boxes, basically, or those pizza boxes, right? So they did studies on rats and found that these PFAS might cause problems in rats. The grease-proofing agents on paperboard packaging, so takeout packaging or pizza boxes. So they contacted the manufacturers about the safety questions, and all those manufacturers agreed in July 2020 to phase out their sales of these compounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In 2024, the FDA announced that all grease-proofing agents containing PFAS are no longer being sold in the U.S. That doesn't mean they're not still out there. That was only, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the FDA issued a notice in 2025 announcing its determination that the 35 food contact notifications related to PFAS containing food contact substances as greaseproofers are no longer effective based on the abandonment of these uses. So they're not enforcing that anymore, basically.
Oh. Wait, they're not enforcing not using them, is what you're saying?
They're saying that they phase it out enough so they're not monitoring it anymore.
I see.
So, okay. When the FDA finds a detectable level of a chemical contaminant in food such as PFAS, the agency conducts an assessment to evaluate whether the level detected presents a possible human health concern and warrants further FDA action. So this is reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah.
They say the FDA's approach considers a number of factors, including whether there is an established action level or tolerance, how much of the specific food people typically eat, the level of the contaminant detected in that food, and the toxicity of the specific contaminants. So there's a lot of things that go into it's kind of like in not exactly. In Fight Club when he's talking on the plane with a woman and he's talking about if the cost of a recall is less than the cost of settling the suit, we don't issue the recall.
Yeah.
It's not quite that vile, but the issue is that there's so much nuance going into, okay, if you've got, well, we can use arsenic as an example. There are allowable levels of arsenic in our water that every waterway is supposed to monitor, right? We know the toxicity level of arsenic. We know how much human beings can consume before it gets toxic. They're saying that when we think that there's a possibility that a PFAS could cause issues, we look into how toxic is that PFAS really. We try to measure that. Then we say, okay, how much pizza are people consuming? Is there an allowable level that people are probably not going to reach? If it looks like that allowable level is going to be surpassed because people eat pizza twice a week, then we'll recall the pizza or ask the manufacturing companies to stop doing the thing that makes pizza be contaminated with this PFAS.
Wow.
But again, there's 15,000 PFAS chemicals. So it's only when it's clear, they can't test all of them. We couldn't ask our government to test all of them.
Right.
In an ideal world, maybe.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. I think we should take a break because I have some things that are just going to make you kind of mad, probably.
Okay. Great.
So let's take a break.
Awesome.
So how did PFAS get into our drinking water and our food in the first place? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Industry leaders knew PFAS was highly toxic when inhaled and moderately toxic when ingested by the 1970s, according to the study from the NIH.
Ugh.
The public health community didn't really find out about this until the 1990s.
Why is
And
this the same as microplastic?
It's because industries, it's what makes money, right?
So fucked up.
Industries use manipulative tactics to influence science and regulation, which we've seen time and again in pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, tobacco, and even food. It's these players have money, and they're going to suppress the research and spin the story in their favor. So the major companies who did this are 3M, who produced Scotchgard. Did you ever use Scotchgard as a kid?
Did I ever use it?
I remember buying a new pair of shoes and my dad saying, okay, let's use Scotchgard on them because, we want to waterproof them.
I don't think I did, but I'm sure I used plenty of other things.
That's the big one that I know of. A Scotchgard was in like every home, so you could waterproof your suede shoes or your tennis shoes or your jacket, DuPont Chemical, they made Teflon.
Right.
Teflon is what makes pans nonstick, right?
Yep.
DuPont apparently dumped 7,100 tons of PFOA-laced sludge into the Ohio River at one point. I don't know when that was, but they settled a 1998 lawsuit was brought against them. In 2001, they settled, but the EPA continued to pursue DuPont for violating the Toxic Substances Control Act. And in 2004, there was another settlement of about $16.4 million, which is cute, except...
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not that much money, really.
It's less than 2% of the $1 billion per year in revenue they made from making things with PFOA.
Yeah, and think about how many families were affected. I think that's what that movie, that Mark Ruffalo movie was about.
Yes. Yeah. It's an Aaron Brockovich situation. I didn't get to watch Dark Waters because it's not available streaming unless you rent it.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a nationwide tort case going on now. It was started in, I think, 2018 against 3M and DuPont that 10 states filed on behalf of U.S. residents, and it could become the largest class action case in U.S. history.
Wow.
I haven't heard an update on that. So I don't know what's going to happen in terms of that. However, basically what this Consumer Reports article said was, we're on our own here, kids. The companies aren't coming to save us. Again, because they can say they're still advertising these grease-resistant, flame-resistant, water-resistant packaging, as better living through chemicals, modern technology. And I mean, you think about, you buy a package of pepperoni from the store, there's grease-resistant packaging there. That's got PFAS in it. We don't know how much it's leaching into the pepperoni. We don't know how much it's going to affect you personally. So, what can you do about PFAS?
Yeah.
Is the question. Okay. First thing I said was don't panic.
Okay, good.
So, most of the issues we know about PFAS come from high exposure levels, again, right? The tests they've done on animals have only involved high levels of exposure. And again, animals aren't humans, so we're not sure. If you inject a rat with a high amount of any chemical, it'll probably give it cancer. So you're not eating probably 100% PFAS apples, right? From what we know. It's true, we don't have a full picture of what PFAS can do to human health, especially over time, because they've only been around since the 1930s, 1940s. There is research on the PFAS that are most likely to touch our food chains and processes in place to keep exposure low. So they are, again, eliminating PFOA and PFOS new exposure from pizza boxes and things like that. Doesn't mean there's not going to be a new demon PFAS that comes out. And again, those 4 other chemicals that they've decided weren't bad enough to keep testing for, I don't know.
Right. I was sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to look at DuPont's website and just see like how they're marketing themselves. And they're doing
They have so many. Yeah.
We make essential innovations the world needs now. Listen to this. From protective equipment to delivering clean water and enabling smarter, faster electronics. See how we use science. Blah, 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 blah. How are they helping us with clean water?
I think because it is such a marketing and PR disaster to have dumped sludge in a river or, I think they probably are spending some money on environmental cleanup stuff. I don't think it's as much as their CEO's annual salary by any means, but I'm sure there are efforts, and 3M too. They must. There's some. It's like in Braiding Sweetgrass when she talks about trying to restore waterways and things. We have all these ideas on how to do it that are all very based in like, what's the quickest way we can cover this up?
Right. Does Teflon have a new name? Because I'm not seeing Teflon on their list.
I don't believe Teflon's allowed to be sold anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's look that up.
Yeah, because I'm curious, like, what do they make it out of now? Like, what is...
Other PFAS. Oh, you can still buy Teflon. Okay, so they phased out the PFOA chemical in 2013, but they have PTFE coating now, and is apparently safe for use as intended according to regulatory agencies.
In what year did you say?
2013. They stopped using PFOA. So, as far as we know, PFTE is safe. I guess they test for that. I wouldn't trust it, personally. So Teflon's just got a new chemical makeup.
That's interesting. I'm just wondering, I'm seeing a whole lot of other T words here. So I'm wondering
I'm sure there's
rebranded.
Again, probably since they got a lot of bad marketing.
Right.
I
might just...
You got to disassociate the Teflon name from, PFOA, right? People are like, isn't Teflon bad? And, they can't be like, not anymore. We've got a new chemical that does the exact same thing as the last chemical.
Right.
I'm not a chemist. I like watching you do research.
No, I know. It's so boring. I'm sorry. No, but this is... Teflon is the common brand name, but the chemical is different. Yeah. It's just... it's now owned by a different company. Kinetic Chemicals, now owned by Chemours. Anyway, that's why it's not on the DuPont website. Chemours is a spin-off of DuPont, so...
Yeah, that's another thing.
But I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they just rebranded it?
DuPont has like 7 names. They're like an old Habsburg prince with like 7 last names or something, and they just call them DuPont. And yeah, they own... It's kind of like Unilever owns...
Yeah.
Every shampoo that you use is Unilever. Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that I read that was kind of helpful, I think it was the Guardian article, was like, we have never been able to eliminate the microbes that cause food poisoning in our food production chains. We have lowered the risk over the years, but, you may have had to return some organic carrots from contamination, and maybe you had a bad night on the toilet, but it's unlikely that you're going to die, and you haven't stopped eating altogether, right? And this is the same with organic food. There's no such thing as perfect food. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to compare bacteria to chemicals that are used to make nonstick pans, but it's possible that the environmental working group is, making this out. I didn't use them as a source. They have a lot of stuff. If you want to look at the environmental working group to kind of scare you, about the same way they do with organic food, that these things are definitely going to kill you. We can't say that with any certainty. Again, the uncertainty is what worries me. So I might try to reduce my exposure to PFAS as much as I can.
Yeah.
Again, because nobody else is going to do it. The same way that, you know, we try to reduce our use of gas-powered cars. And, you know, it's a safety concern for us and, you know, an environmental concern for us. And what you can do as a consumer, you should, I would say.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. So if you work in an industry that uses PFAS like industrial manufacturing, that's a different story. You're probably going to be exposed to PFAS a lot more than the rest of us, right?
Yeah, that would be scary.
If you live or work near an industrial manufacturing site or a contaminated site, you're second most likely at risk, right, of high levels of PFAS exposure. The EPA and the Environmental Working Group did have lists of places where exposures were high, and the EPA also keeps a list of contaminated water sites and are working with the public too. But again, that's so hard because it's like you have to go digging for that information, you know? So like that ELG law firm that I saw is like, if you live in one of these areas, contact us to see if you can be part of a lawsuit, you know?
Is it Chesapeake Bay included? Because that's like so close to me.
Yeah. Again, what they said was the levels that they found in that seafood, yes, they found PFAS in the seafood, but it was a low enough contamination level that they don't think you need to be worried about it.
Right.
And it's that same issue that comes up over and over again. How much seafood are you eating?
Right.
If you're eating
the doctor
10
tells
pounds
you
a
to
week.
eat a lot. And you're
Yes.
like, well, I mean, I guess mercury is a problem too, but.
Well, yeah. And they said actually that contaminated tuna fish, like canned tuna fish, is probably one of the highest levels of PFAS in the food that you get.
You know what's so annoying about that? It's the opposite for microplastics. It's like canned seafood and canned like chicken or whatever those were like the things that were lower in microplastics compared to a lot of other meats. So I'm like, God damn it. You can't win.
But, okay, that's the thing. You can't win.
Yeah.
So the thing is to try and find balance, right? And again, to remind yourself that, okay, there's so many things that go into cancer risk. There's so many things that go into, like, at some point you just got to live your life, you know? PFAS aren't lead poisoning. They're not cigarettes, you know, yet. I mean, that we know of. People aren't just dropping dead from PFAS exposure immediately that we know of, you know? But that research could change. It's just one more thing to be aware of, that there are things that maybe make your life more convenient, which I completely understand, but maybe it's worth having a little inconvenience to stop having this kind of exposure, right?
Yes.
Just like it's worth a little inconvenience to ride your bike rather than drive your car sometimes.
Right. And also, I was going to say we're like killing ourselves with convenience, so.
Right. Yeah. Killing the world with convenience. I mean, that's kind of what this whole podcast is about.
Yeah, it's true. That should be our tagline.
Yeah.
Stop
killing the world with convenience. Stop killing the world with convenience. But again, I don't, and I think we've reiterated this time and time again, I can't judge people for the choices that they have to make. Like, I remember one time somebody was like, you got to cancel your Amazon subscription and like quit shopping on Amazon.com. And this woman was like, I have 5 children and I can't, there's no time for me to do the grocery shopping that Amazon makes it easy to just hit a button and, you know, refill my thing. So I get it, you know.
Right.
I'm not going to judge you because I don't have children and I can afford the time to like look up a local company and order it from them, you know, or go without, you know.
Right.
Kids need their goldfish crackers, you know? Yeah. Like, okay, but here are some other tips that I gleaned.
Yes, please.
Okay. Focus on high fiber and high folate diets, which is vegetables.
Yeah, I was going to say same as microplastics.
Yes. According to Science Focus, these have shown some promise in reducing your body's absorption of PFAS.
Oh, interesting.
And they might possibly help eliminate them. If you think about it, you poop more, you get rid of things faster.
Yeah.
So eat those veggies.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. You know, your veggies are not contaminated at levels that are going to make you drop dead. So eat the veggies.
Okay.
Wash or peel fresh.
Non-organic is fine also. We've learned.
And non-organic is fine. Yeah. You know, the Environmental Working Group will tell you it's not, but... You know,
when we were talking about our next season, I definitely want to have an episode on them.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
I like to go into their background. Mm-hmm. Okay, another thing is you can wash or peel your fresh produce.
Okay.
So that removes pesticides, which can reduce PFAS. Again, if the food's going to have PFAS in it, it's probably from the water that watered it. So, you know, you might not be able to avoid that totally. But big one, cook at home, which I think we've seen that over and over again. Yeah, if you can cook at home and from non-processed food, right, that doesn't come in a prepackaged container.
Right.
Takeout containers and packaging are big sources of PFAS.
Yeah. And you can see it. And microplastics too. Like you can see it. You know it when you get it. You're like, this has all the things in it.
Again, pepperoni packaging, you know.
Pepperoni's so greasy. It really does have anti-grease.
Yes. There are anti-grease things or anti-stick things. And, you know, you think about the pasta that comes in those little kind of plastic bags. It doesn't stick to the bag. Why doesn't it stick to the bag? It sticks to everything else.
Oy.
If it comes in packaging that it can't stick to...
Yeah. The dental floss thing was something I learned, I think, last time maybe when I was doing the PFAS research. I don't remember. But yeah, like the dental floss everybody loves. It's like super easy to get in and out. That's got PFAS in it probably. I swapped to like wax.
Yeah, floss. Wax coated. It falls apart in your mouth, but it's less PFAS. I mean,
not as especially bad as organic floss, which we
which is just
insane.
Use your own hair; it's stronger. Yeah, I had a friend in high school who would pull a hair out of his head and floss his teeth with it.
Ew!
It was like, oh, buddy.
I mean, hey,
okay,
that's like the ultimate organic.
Yeah, I guess. Well, natural. Probably has PFAS in it because it's in your hair.
Yeah, probably.
Also, you don't know what tools a restaurant is using to make the food, so you have more control when you cook at home.
Yeah.
And I know not everyone has time. I get it.
Yeah.
If you do go out to a restaurant, you know, try to bring your own containers for takeout if you can.
Yeah.
I know that's another thing. It's not convenient. It's hard. It is hard. You've been working 60 hours a week and you just want food for your family.
Right.
But if you can make the time to cook at home.
Yeah. And listen to the meal planning episode because...
Yes, because that can help.
Yeah.
You can get it done. Yeah. Look for products in glass or cardboard rather than plastic or grease-free packaging. So if there's a condiment like ketchup, mustard, don't buy the plastic one. Buy the glass one. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. Again, this is hard. I'm curious
how much more expensive it is because I was thinking about, like, I buy bulk peanut butter. Like the giant plastic tubs of peanut butter because we go through so much of it in this house. And I'm like, I know even like Jif has a glass jar. I wonder what the price difference would be.
Let's see. Jif, bulk, peanut butter, glass jar versus plastic jar price. Let's see if Google AI can figure that one out. Jif does not currently offer a bulk peanut butter in a glass jar.
Oh, well, yeah, it's not bulk.
It's only available in plastic containers.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
It's like the smaller version, so it's definitely going to cost more. And it's like the natural, quote unquote, which
that's the other thing.
Actually is exactly the same. I looked at the ingredients, and it's the same amount of sugar. It's so funny.
Oh man, that's greenwashing trash.
Yes,
right there.
It's ridiculous.
But I think that's the other thing is that the people who are concerned about PFAS are people who are more likely to want to buy natural peanut butter. You know, So they can just sucker them in there and be like, well, yeah, your natural peanut butter comes in a jar. It's like, what if I just want the trash peanut butter in a jar? You know?
Exactly. I've even thought like, okay, maybe I could do like our really fancy natural grocery store has um like homemade ones, and I'm like, could I make it homemade? I'm just
You,
Jesus Christ. You could
the
go down a
bulks,
rabbit hole.
the bulk, um, I remember, so my college boyfriend was one of the first employees who worked for Audible.com. And when they got kind of big, they had like an in-house fresh peanut butter maker thing.
Oh my God.
Like it just grinds peanuts. But they have that at the bulk. They used to have it at the bulk section at my local grocery store where you can throw the peanuts in and grind your own peanut butter.
Yeah. They may have that actually. And then you could just like bring a jar.
Yeah. Which
It'd be kind of cool.
again, I don't know if you could do it in bulk. You're like, I got all the peanuts. And also that must be a bitch for them to have to clean.
Totally.
But I mean, that's an option,
Yeah. Or I could maybe make it at home. I'm never going to do that, let's be honest. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. Realistically, I could buy the natural, quote unquote, Jif peanut butter in the jar.
You don't have to.
Could
Again,
figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. The big one here is to get rid of nonstick cookware, even if it's PTFE, the new one. Stainless steel or cast iron pans you can make them nonstick by heating them to the appropriate temperature.
Yes, I think did we talk about this this season?
I think we either did in one of our off sessions or just in general. But yes, look it up on YouTube. If you heat a pan to the appropriate, like a drop of oil on it should spin around. That's when you know the pan is at the right temperature. Mm-hmm. And it's not because of the thing it's made out of. It's because none of us went to chef school and we don't know how to cook. That's the difference. Teflon is... I can make a nonstick pan sticky. I tell you what, I can do it. Also, you can't use metal on those because it scrapes up the thing.
Yeah.
Which microplastics and PFAS. I mean, it's just... Yeah.
Yeah.
Just use stainless steel or cast iron and avoid plastic spatulas or cutting boards as well.
Yes. We have a really old plastic cutting board that I was just yesterday saying, like, I got to get rid of this thing. But I don't know what else to buy because...
Wood.
But can you cut meat on wood?
You can. There was a study that came out a couple years ago, and they found that wood cutting boards actually retain bacteria less than plastic.
Oh. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was big plastic telling me that I can't cut meat on wood.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. Cross-contamination, all those things. Follow the guidelines, but plastic is not safer.
Okay. Cool.
So
great.
Yeah.
Glad to hear
I should look up that study to make sure. But that's what I heard 5 years ago.
Yeah. I believe it.
Who knows what DuPont is telling us now, but... And again, wood can be treated with...
Yes.
Sean uses beeswax on all of our... He seals it with beeswax, which is super cool. Or oil, not plastic-based. So you can find...
we use... it's like a wood conditioner.
Yeah.
Which is like food grade or whatever. But
yeah. So take control of your cutting boards. Monitor your seafood intake. Just be aware. The guy who wrote that article in The Guardian was like, I won't eat any seafood from the Chesapeake Bay anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, fine. And I think seafood is a luxury for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
But, it's just be aware of how much you're eating. Again, large quantities is what we're afraid of, large exposures. No smoking gun out there yet that any of our food in our food system is contaminated past the point of safety that we know of. But just, keep that in mind and, up the veggie game. Yeah. All fruit and vegetables, including organically grown stuff, is going to have some exposure to PFAS. This one author in that BBC article said that anything with blood in it, so like meat, poultry, and dairy, is going to have more PFAS than something that doesn't have blood in it.
Does my milk have blood?
Well, I mean, bodily fluids, I guess.
Yeah,
because PFAS kind of stick around in bodily fluids more. Which kind of sounds like, I don't know. It was just something they said. Up the veggies, lower your meat intake, monitor your seafood intake. Vary your diet. So don't just eat one thing. I mean, we keep finding that to be true. The benefits of a healthy diet so far seem to outweigh the effects of PFAS from what we can tell. And then get a good water filter if you can. The EPA had a whole article on how to find the right water filter, and that Consumer Reports article had stuff too. I'm sorry I didn't take note of it because we were talking about food, and I was like, but wait, it's in our drinking water. But get a good water filter. There are even like ones you can attach to your sink, ones you can use a Brita filter. There's certain ones. There's a certain I forget what it's called.
Like level or grade.
Yeah, there's a certain grade that you can get that can help.
Okay, that's interesting.
So yeah, I have a filter on my fridge water. So
I do too. Mine's just like the built-in one. I mean, I change it out, but I don't really have a choice on what kind of filter it is. But I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know.
Better than nothing.
We can look into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want anybody to like be afraid that eating every food you eat and every drop of water you drink is going to kill you. Probably not true. I'm not saying, we've had instances where like the Aaron Brockovich story and the dark water story where it's like, yeah, these chemical companies have a way of twisting the media narrative and twisting even what science is allowed to be done on it. But you're probably going to be okay. I just think these precautions are probably worth taking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It is so interesting. Like I said, even with the microplastics episode.
Yeah.
It all kind of goes back to stuff that we all want to do for ourselves anyway. Like none of us want to, most of us don't want to eat out every night. Most of us don't want to.
We want to eat more vegetables.
Yes.
We want to have a higher fiber diet.
Yes.
It's hard. It can be very hard. But if this gives you one more reason to do it, yeah, why not?
Yeah, totally. Cool.
So
that was less depressing than I expected. Yay.
Well, I couldn't do a depressing episode this week. I'm sorry.
Right, I know.
Not in my wheelhouse this week.
Gotcha. So. I understand. Cool. Well, next week we are going to be talking about Thanksgiving stuff because it's coming out right before Thanksgiving. So I looked into a little bit of like low waste Thanksgiving. And then we're going to share some recipes that we like. Yeah,
and just kind of things we do.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like everybody knows about the Thanksgiving sandwich, but there's all kinds of stuff you could do with Thanksgiving leftovers. And, I have some recipes I can just do off the top of my head that my family's been doing for years that, are kind of great.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So if y'all don't mind, go over and watch our YouTube. Check it out.
I think, we got some new followers after our veganism episode because they had things to say, which is exactly what I expected.
Oh, nice. Okay. Wait, for on YouTube? On the comments? Yeah. Oh, I missed it.
We got a comment. Yeah, you can see it.
Okay.
Look.
I'll have to look.
I didn't argue because it's like, well, that's not what this was about. But okay.
Hey, I like people are watching and that they have opinions,
Yeah, and, there's going to be myriad opinions on everything we talk about, and it's really good to hear from other people because, again, we can only do so much research.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we're not, like, overlords of these topics, so.
Right, yeah.
Awesome, cool. Well, go comment nice stuff on our YouTube if you have a second.
Or
just
anything's nice. We like it.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe if you agree.
Yes.
Or don't agree. That's also fun.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. Well, we will see you next week. Which is our final episode, actually, of the season.
It is.